The reverse lunge is an iconic leg exercise, but we can actually level that move up by adding a little bit of elevation. That's where we arrive at the deficit reverse lunge. Think of it as a reverse lunge on steroids. Normally when we do our reverse lunges, we wind up hitting glutes, hamstrings, and quads, but by adding that deficit, we're gonna get a deeper stretch on our quad because we're gonna be able to get our hip below our knee. We're gonna be guaranteed to get that out of every single rep. And because we have to drive up from that deeper point, we have to get that much more glute power and that much more quad power as we stand up. And once we do that with a heavy load, we're also gonna get a lot of benefit for our core and a lot more framework than you may think too. You've got to keep your shoulder blades back. We're gonna get a good mid-back work out of this. And we're also gonna get a lot of abdominal work because we have to make sure our hips and shoulders stay square to the front on every single rep. Now, this is not an exercise that everybody needs to do. If you're a beginner, let's stick with the reverse lunge and let's master that because it's gonna offer you a lot friendlier angles in terms of knee position and in terms of hip position. We're thinking about 90-degree angles when we do a traditional reverse lunge. It's nice and safe, and we're still gonna get some good hip extension benefit there. But once you've mastered that reverse lunge, once you feel like you've worked on your range of motion, then we can get into the deficit reverse lunge. And it's a really, really good way to start getting our hip below our knee at the bottom of every single rep. It's a really friendly way that we can work on that position. And it's an exercise that can wind up helping your squat, and it's gonna make you a better athlete. It's gonna help you with your jumping, it's gonna help you with your running, because anytime we're working that hip extension and we're getting that hip extension, which happens at the finish of every single reverse lunge rep, you get a ton of benefit, and we're creating a lot of power that's gonna contribute to a ton of athleticism. All you need for this is a plate or a step. Anything can work. This winds up being a really, really versatile move. So I'm just using a plate here, but again, we can use multiple plates, and the higher you get, the more stretch you're gonna get on your front quad, the deeper you're gonna be able to get your hip, and the more you're gonna have to drive up. So I'm gonna stick with just a plate to show you guys how to do this. In terms of loading options, I'm gonna give you 3 options. Your best option, if you're a beginner, we're just gonna grab a single dumbbell. You're gonna hold it on the side opposite your plant leg. That's gonna give you a good degree of stability as you drop into your reverse lunge. This is gonna be your most stable position. Your most comfortable loading position is gonna be with 2 dumbbells at your sides. Now we can get a little more load on there. We can go a little bit heavier, even though you can still get heavy with that single load, but we're gonna be able to get double that load now. Got a little more balance challenge just because we're on one single leg and we still got to balance things out. Your most advanced option, and the option that you're going to be able to load the most, is going to be to introduce a barbell. Suddenly we can put plates upon plates upon plates if we get to that point. So that is for your most advanced user, and that is going to be your best option if you really, really want to load this move. We don't need to load this move to start. To start, what we have to do is master our execution, and we have to master a couple ideas. So the 3 things I want you to think about. So we're gonna start standing on our deficit. Make sure your feet are fully on the deficit. So you don't wanna be at the back end too much. You don't want your heels off of the deficit, but we wanna stand completely on our plate or a step or whatever else we're on. And then the first thing I want you to think about is keeping your hips and shoulders square to the front. Keeping everything in one line, and then dropping into our reverse lunge, and then standing up. By doing that, we're gonna get a lot more abdominal engagement, and we're gonna get a little bit of underrated core work. That's never a bad thing, and it's gonna set us up for success. The second thing I really want you to think about is using the deficit. And this is the biggest mistake I see people make, is they fail to use the deficit and they wind up defeating the purpose of doing this move. What we want to avoid is this idea where we settle down and look how far. Now I haven't really used the deficit. I'm still essentially at those 90-degree angles, and I'm not really taking advantage of the fact that I can get deeper into this. So what we want to do is make sure that back knee almost touches the ground. Now I've lowered into it. Now I'm getting that deep hip stretch. My quads got to work extra hard, and from there, I can come back to my standing position. So make sure you almost go to the ground with your back knee on every single rep. On my first rep, very often, on your first rep, a good gauge to get a feel for things is actually let that back knee touch the ground. It'll give you an idea of what it's like to really use the deficit, and then you can chase that feeling on every single set. It's gonna make your sets that much better, and it's gonna help you get the full benefit of the move. The third thing we wanna do is we wanna think about that hip extension idea, driving to that powerful stand and squeezing our glutes. Last thing you do on the deficit reverse lunge is you squeeze your glutes really hard, drive those hips into extension. So what that looks like is I'm gonna drop into the bottom of my reverse lunge, back knee is about an inch from the ground. As I stand up, I'm thinking about standing up with power and really squeezing my glutes, driving those hips into extension every single rep. Again, you can do this with multiple lows. You want to take your time as you lower down into the bottom of every single rep. That'll ensure that we're almost getting that back knee to the ground, and then powerfully stand up. It's going to demand a lot from the glute on the plant leg, a lot from the knee on the plant leg, and again for your core. And you can tell I'm breathing hard already just from demoing those couple of reps. So that winds up being your deficit reverse lunge. There are multiple ways that we can program this within our workouts. In general, I like to think of this as 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps. And you'll notice too that I did all the reps on one side as I was demoing. Don't feel the need to alternate when you're doing this. When you alternate, it becomes a little bit more metabolic. If we're chasing strength, if we really want to chase a little bit more constant tension, do all of your reps on one side, take about a 30-second break, then come back and do all of your reps on the other, and think of that as a set. We can put this in multiple places within our leg workout as well. If we go with the barbell version, or even if we're going with very, very heavy dumbbells, do not be afraid to make this a lead exercise in your leg workouts. It's gonna give you a lot of power, it's gonna give you a lot of hip extension. As we talked about, we get to really work on that, and it's gonna challenge your core a lot more than you might think. So don't be afraid to make this your first leg exercise, and then follow with, say, high volume trap bar deadlifts, maybe follow with some heels elevated goblet squats. It's a nice way to mix things up. It's not bad to lead off your leg workouts with a unilateral move. You can also throw this at the end of a heavy leg workout. Let's say we go trap bar deadlifts first. Let's say we go with some standard squats second, and then we want to finish up with a little bit of deficit reverse lunge work. In that situation, you're going to keep it a little bit higher rep. You're going to stay closer to that 10 rep range, and we're going to work with a little bit of a lighter weight, get a little bit of volume. Either way, the deficit reverse lunge is one of the most underrated leg moves out there. It's going to give you so much benefit, not just in terms of strength, but in terms of athleticism and in terms of core. So find ways to work this into your workouts. You will thank me, unless you can't walk away from the workout because your legs are that sore.